السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. علي نظارتي. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه على آلائه ونعمائه، ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، إلها واحدا أحدا فردا صمدا قيوما، نؤمن له بالربوبية ونقر له بالعبودية، من يهدي الله فهو المهتدي ومن يضلل فلن تجد له وليا مرشدا، ونشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله، أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وصل اللهم وسلم على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والأوصياء والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وعترة نبيك الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين والخلص من أصحابه المنتجبين. عباد الله، أوصي نفسي وأوصيكم بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في سورة البقرة: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: ولا تلبسوا الحق بالباطل وتكتموا الحق وأنتم تعلمون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Our Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked all the nations and their leaders, the prophets, their scholars, and specifically the Israelites, not to confound truth with falsehood, neither knowingly conceal the truth. وَلَا تَكْتُمُوا الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ, do not confound truth with falsehood. وَلَا تَلْبِسُوا الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ, do not confound truth with falsehood. وَتَكْتُمُوا الْحَقَّ وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ, and knowingly conceal the truth. Concealing the truth, it's a crime. A scholar, a prophet, a leader, spiritual leader, educator has to speak the truth. This is a covenant all nations made with God, specifically Bani Israel, because in this chapter, Surah Al-Baqarah, the verse begins, Ya Bani Israel, specifically addressing them, the Israelites. Ya Bani Israel, اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأوفوا بعهدي أوفي بعهدكم. Fulfill your covenant with me and I would fulfill my covenant with you. وإياي فاتقون وإياي فارهبون وآمنوا بما أنزلت مصدقا لما أنزلت وآمنوا بما أنزلت مصدقا لما معكم ولا تكونوا أول كافر به. Do not be the first people to reject what I have sent to you, your book, the Torah. Do not be the first to reject that. ولا تكونوا أول كافر به ولا تشتروا بآياتي ثمنا قليلا وإياي فاتقون. And then he says, be careful. ولا تلبسوا الحق بالباطل. Do not mix truth with falsehood. Do not confound truth with falsehood. Truth is truth and falsehood is falsehood. Do not fabricate. Do not lie. Do not commit forgery. ولا تلبسوا الحق بالباطل وتكتموا الحق. You see the fact and you keep silent. You don't speak about it. For almost 8 months, Israel has been attacking this small province of Gaza with over 2.2 million inhabitants with every lethal weapon, fresh weapon that are flown here from California and other states daily, on a daily basis to Israel, using these sophisticated weapons against women and children, against refugee camp. The last tragedy was in Rafah, They asked them to move to that area, and they said to them, the Israelis said to the people of Gaza, this is a secure and peaceful area. This is safe for you and for your children. So they moved, and then in the middle of the night, they bombed them with American weapons. And they murdered scores of women and children, civilians. 90% of Gaza's residents and homes are completely destroyed. 90%. 90%. Dresden in Germany was an example of Hitler's and the Allies' destruction. The city of Dresden. Now, if you go through it, it's something completely different, Dresden. Many people say Gaza is worse than Dresden after the Second World War. 90% of people's home, properties, buildings, churches, mosques, hospitals, more than 100 school and university are leveled to the ground. More than 100 school and university. There is no university which is safe today. All of them, they have 5 universities, all of them are completely destroyed. Another 300 schools are partially damaged, but 100 are completely destroyed. And nothing is safe in Gaza. Nowhere is safe. The school year, which was started in September of last year, 2023, 2024, children were suspended. Education was suspended. No schools now. People do not go to school anywhere. It's not safe to protect their lives. 620,000 students in Gaza, 620,000. They have no school. No education this year. Because nowhere is safe. Their schools are not safe. They turned their schools, which is still not being damaged, into refugee camps. If you look at the schools, the picture of the schools, filled with refugees from Gaza. This is, some people call it educational genocide. When you deprive students from their right, from learning, from their schools, under the threat of bombardment, this is educational genocide. Over 5,000 of those students were killed. Most of the people who are killed in Gaza are women and children who are under the age of 5, infants. But about 5,000 students are killed and more than 10,000 are being wounded. Many of them, they lost their limbs. Yesterday they released a lady from the prison, a lady who was imprisoned in Gaza. They released her from prison, but without legs. They amputated her legs. They told her, enjoy your life. This is what is happening on a daily basis. Israel today is country number 1 in the world in killing children. In slaughtering children, Israel gets the trophy, the prize for murdering children. Country number 1 in the whole world. And of course, we do not expect the politicians to condemn this or to do anything to stop this. Politicians, especially American politicians, American administration, American legislator, American senators are complicit in this war, in these crimes. They are instigating it, they are fueling it, they are helping it, they are supporting it, they are encouraging Israel. Some of those senators are worse than the Nazis, worse than Hitler, encouraging Israel to go, finish them up. Nikki Haley, she goes and she signs on the bomb, finish them up, finish the job. This is her ethics. Those who want to be leading this country. She was a presidential candidate. She wants to bring democracy. A bloodthirsty, a warmonger who loves to see more murders and more killing of the children. She wanted to be the leader. Congratulations to America. From now on, every felon is going to be president, alhamdulillah, in this country. Imagine what future this country is going to have. Felons who, according to American Constitution, a felon cannot vote. Do you know this? If someone is felon, he cannot vote. They deprive him completely from vote for the rest of his or her life. But he can become a president of the United States of America. We are witnessing the collapse of so-called democracy. First in America and second in Europe. So we do not expect politicians to condemn. Politicians are not going to condemn. Politicians only look at their own interests. They don't look at the number of women and children and human beings and civilians and innocent people who are being murdered on a daily basis. They don't. They feel sorry for a dog. If a dog gets an accident on the freeway, they write obituary for this dog. But the human beings in Gaza, in Palestine, in Lebanon, in other countries, in Sudan and other countries, they have no value. But today I'd like to remind Jewish rabbis, especially American Jewish rabbis, of what their book, the Torah, said. Allah said, we made covenant with you that you speak up, you mention the truth, you are brave enough to say to the wrong, this is wrong, this is injustice, enough murder. Allah said to you in the Torah, in your own book, He said to you, من أجل ذلك كتبنا على بني إسرائيل أنه من قتل نفسا بغير نفس أو فساد في الأرض فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. If one innocent person, O Bani Israel, if one innocent person is killed with no reason, no justification, then this is considered in the eyes of God an assault, an attack on the entire humanity. فكأنما قتل الناس جميعا. God is going to charge that person, the murderer, on the day of judgment. He is not going to charge him with one count. He's going to tell him, you murdered the whole of humanity, not just one person. So where are you? Why are you silent? Where is the human conscience? Where is ethics? Where is morality? Where is your book? Where is the Torah? Where are the teaching of Judaism here? Why don't you speak? Why we hear none of you? Maybe few rabbis, Orthodox rabbis, who disagree with Israel in everything. They are raising their voice. Other than that, prominent rabbis in our community, in America, in Europe, none of them is saying anything. None of them is going to their government and saying, stop, halt this. These barbaric acts against the humans, against innocent people, against children, stop them. Nobody is condemning. Nobody is saying anything. This is a responsibility. A rabbi, a scholar, his first job is to tell the people the truth. وَلَا تَكْتُمُ الْحَقِّ. If he cannot tell the truth, he has to resign. He has to sit at home. Because media does not tell you the truth. Media tells you, fabricates the news. You don't expect any media outlet to tell you the truth. The newspaper might not tell you the truth. A politician, a congressman, a senator might not tell you the truth. But you expect a religious leader, a spiritual leader, a rabbi, an imam, sheikh, a priest, a pastor, to tell you the truth. They have to speak the truth. If they don't tell you the truth, there is no value for them. There is no value for them. They represent divine values. وَلَا تَلْبِسُوا الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ. Never commit this crime. Do not confound truth with falsehood. Do not do that. وَتَكْتُمُوا الْحَقَّ وَأَنْتُمْ. You know what is the truth, but because of your interest, you don't speak about it. You keep silent, out of a prejudice sometimes, out of racism. Sometimes not racism, not a prejudice, out of fear. Out of fear. You have to have courage. Speak the truth. I call upon my friends. I have many friends in Orange County and elsewhere in LA who are rabbis. And I know they are good. They are serving their communities. We have interfaith sessions and relationships with them. We're going to host one soon in the middle of June here in this mosque. So I call upon them to speak up. To speak up. even if they cannot put any pressure on Israel, because Israel does not listen to anyone. Leaders of Israel are so ignorant that they listen only to their ego. They follow their ego. They do not follow logic. They do not follow the United Nations. They do not follow the International Court of Justice. They do not follow the Security Council. They do not recognize any law. The only country in the world that does not, a rogue country that does not recognize any international law, any human law, is the State of Israel. So maybe they say that the rabbi is going to say they don't listen, but you have to do your job. At least before God you said, I did what I am supposed to do. You are not less than a young Jewish students on campus. How many of them we saw, young Jewish students who stood against Israel? They said, stop the war, stop the genocide. We don't accept, we don't recognize this. We don't recognize Israel and what it's doing. It's illegal, it's a crime against humanity. Have a courage of a 18 years old boy or girl. Have a courage. Say something. When this camp last week was bombed in Rafah, refugee camp, tents crammed with women and children. And now it is hot there. Now it's summertime in that region. No electricity, no air conditioning, no running water, no facilities. And they were bombed in the middle of the night when they are asleep. So Israel made sure that they will inflict the maximum damage when people are in their tents sleeping. You know, some people in Israel was cheering this. They were joyful. They were celebrating the murder of women and children. Is this victory? This is an act of victory? When you target women and children, you celebrate that? Is this a cause of happiness and joy and celebration? This is a shameful act. This is a disgrace, an act of disgrace. You should condemn this, not celebrate this. But see, when human beings, when the conscience is being twisted up, down, twisted 180 degrees. Allah says, some people, their type of thinking is worse than animals. إِنْهُمْ كَالْأَنْعَامِ بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. إِنْهُمْ كَالْأَنْعَامِ, they are like cattle and animals and beasts, even worse. Sometimes the beasts have some mercy. But some human beings, they don't have any mercy. They are worse than animals. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring victory on those who are oppressed, on those who are deprived, on those who are suffering for a long time. It has been almost 8 months, people under bombardment. Day and night are losing their loved ones. I have a friend in Orange County the other day, he was telling me, Palestinian, said, I lost 50 members of my family. My cousins, my first cousins, my uncles, 50 members from my family during these last 8 months. These are not just any number. Truth, fighting for justice, and sends his wrath on their enemies. The enemies, الطيبين الطاهرين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إلها واحدا أحدا فردا صمدا قيوما ونشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وصل اللهم وسلم على خلفاء الحسن والحسين عليهما السلام وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والإمام الخلف الهادي المهدي عجل الله رحيم. ألم تر كيف ضرب الله مثلا كلمة طيبة كشجرة طيبة أصلها ثابت وفرعها في السماء تؤتي أكلها كل حين بإذن ربها ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس لعلهم يتذكرون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Many parents, mothers and fathers, they approach me and they say, who do we give our daughter's hand in marriage? We live it during a very difficult time. How do we know that this man who is asking for my daughter's hand is not going to abuse her tomorrow? What do we do? Is there any mechanism that we have to go through? Steps that we have to go through? How do we secure our children's future, our daughters and our sons? Same thing, you have a son, not a daughter, a son. Which girl you choose for him? Of course, nowadays the decision is not yours. It's not yours. It's their own decision. They decide for themselves. But parents, they have still they have minimum role in their life. And I've mentioned previously in many of my speeches towards the young generation, I mentioned what are the criteria that you have to find in your future spouse. I spoke about this subject extensively in the past. But today I'm answering the question of parents who are worried about their children's future, about their daughter's future, about their son's future. Let me share with you some points. These are the points that I know from my experience in this life, serving the community, my humble experience. Number one, do not give your daughter or your son to a person who drinks alcohol. This is a red line. Even if that person performs prayers and fasting. If you find out that this man or this lady, they drink alcohol, say no to them. Alcohol is a serious problem. And if they promise to quit, they might promise you that I will quit, but it's not easy to quit. It's an addiction. Some of them, they quit for a few months, sometimes a few years, but then they go back. So be careful. Be careful. The Prophet ﷺ says, من زوج كريمته من شارب خمر فقد قطع رحمها. If you give your daughter, the Prophet does not say daughter, says karima. Karima means your honorable daughter, precious daughter. To someone who drinks, addicted to drinking, then that father has destroyed his relationship with his daughter, severed his relationship, قطع الرحم, destroyed her. So this is number one. Number two, do not give your daughter to a person because his father is famous, his mother is a celebrity. He comes from this and this family tree and this, whatever. Don't look at these titles. These titles are nothing. These titles are only facade. Look at the person's personality and character. Don't look at his father's reputation. Don't look at his mother's reputation. Don't look that he has this last name. He's Sayyid, he's family tree, he's aristocrat, he's noble, he belongs to this. He has, the Queen of England, she bestowed on him the title Sir or whatever. Don't look at these things, are meaningless. When it comes to life, all these titles are meaningless. Examine his or her character. Moral character. If he has a moral character, even if he doesn't have a family, even if his family are unknown, look at the person. Look at them. Otherwise, you're going to regret. When you give your daughter to a person merely because of his name and his father's name and his family's name and his status, social status, you're going to regret. You're going to regret. Number 3, always monitor and test people who come asking for your daughter's hand. Monitor them, but don't monitor them in the mosque. In the mosque, all of us are ma'sumin, mashallah. Look how nice we look, and humble, and religious, and committed, and we carry the tasbih, Allahu Akbar, in the masjid. Masjid, don't look at the mosque. Look at him and examine him outside the mosque, in the marketplace, in the street. If he's the same person, he's honorable, he's dedicated, he's pious, outside, then he's the right person, not inside the masjid. Many mothers, they come to me and they say, but we gave it to him because we knew him from the mosque. Of course, in the mosque, everyone is good. He's not going to show his true face in the mosque. The true face is shown in the marketplace. Number 3, test that person when it comes to money. When it comes to money, when it comes to selling, to buying, to business partnership. The true nature of the people is shown and demonstrated when it comes to money. When it comes to money, we know the true personality of the person, the true character, the true face when it comes to money. Many people fail when it comes to money. When it comes to financial relationship, many people fail in that test. They don't fail in their prayers and their fasting and their sometimes other religious obligations. But when it comes to money and dunya, they fail. So test him. Test him and see whether he's really honest, he fulfills the trust, he fears God or not. This is important. Number 4 or 5, ask. Take your time. My friends, don't come and tell me they saw each other in the supermarket, on the beach, and they loved each other. Now they are in love. Love is not this instant love like the fast food that we eat. This is fast love. Fast love and fast romance is followed by fast divorce. So don't tell me there. Today you put a man and women in one room for 2 hours, they fall in love. They fall in love. So don't tell me they are in love. Love is not enough. There is much more into marriage, much more into this commitment. Requires sacrifice, requires honesty, requires a trust. If these things are not found, that love is not going to last. That love is going to expire soon. With the first conflict, they're going to leave each other. Petition for divorce. So ask his friends who studied with him, the friends who traveled with him, the friends who dealt with him, the friends who lent him money. Did he give the money back or not? Ask the friends, his friends and her friends. Ask the friends about his character since he was young. Ask them. Don't allow his mother to come and tell about her son. Every mother considers her son to be a saint, mashallah, ma'soom. He's perfect. She spends 2 hours praising her son, 2 hours, 3 hours praising her daughter. Don't buy that. Listen to it from one ear and release it from the second. It has no credibility. Every mother, every father, they defend, of course. They protect their kids. They don't tell you the truth about them. They conceal it. So you have to ask the friends, his classmates, people who traveled with him, people who dealt with him, people who lived with him. They tell you the truth. And examine when it comes to akhlaq, the first important character are 2. One of them, generosity, karam. The second, humility, tawadu. If he lacks these 2, tell him sorry. Go somewhere else. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the most 2 adorable characters in a human being, number 1 is generosity. He's generous. He's not stingy. He's not mean. He does not put money before other values. Money comes the last. He has values. So if he's stingy, he's going to starve your daughter to death. Even if he's rich, he's not going to help her. This is number one, karam, generosity. Number two, he should not be arrogant. He should be humble with his wife, with his children, with you. Humble himself. The most despicable traits, human traits, are stinginess, bukhul, and arrogance. And the most honorable are generosity and what else? And humility. Humility. وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ. When God speaks about the servants of God, his servants, in Surah Al-Furqan, he says, these are the characters of the people that I love. He begins with what? With the humility. Number one, he says, وَعِبَادُ الرَّحْمَنِ الَّذِينَ يَمْشُونَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ هَوْنًا, with the humility. They humble themselves. They are not arrogant. Even if they are the most knowledgeable, the most famous, the richest, this. But when it comes to the community, they are humble. They humble themselves. And last but not least, look, the person who comes asking for your daughter's hand, and in some cases for your son's hand also, look and examine, see if they put the principles before interests. If they have values and principles, they put them before their own interest, those are the good people. Those are the one who's going to bring happiness and prosperity and stability in your daughter's life, in your son's life. But if they put their interest first, before the principles and the values, reject them, decline, say sorry. Life is based on values, not on interest. If we put our interest first, we're going to fight. We turn this life into a jungle, into a zoo, because we always consider our own narrow interests. This is what Israel is doing. Israel is putting not the values first, not the principles. It's putting their own, Netanyahu is putting his own personal interest. The majority of the Israelis are telling him, get out, go. But he puts his own narrow interest first, before the interest of his state too. So search for the one who puts his value and his principles first before anything else. And don't forget the element of dua. Many people come to me, male and female, they say, please, Sayyid, we are searching, but we are not finding. We are not finding. I tell them, pray. Pray Allah will bring satisfaction. Sometimes you look at someone, you don't like him because he doesn't have that much money. He's not very rich. But maybe he has a rich heart, a rich conscience. So pray that Allah convinces you. Allah puts in your heart the peace that you can accept this person or that person. Ask this. Ask the help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to find you the right person. Nothing, my friends, brings you happiness in this life, nothing more than a good wife or a good husband. A moral wife or a moral husband. Nothing. No element. Money would not bring you real happiness. If you are the richest person but you have the wrong spouse, the wrong partner, you're going to live miserable. You're not going to enjoy your money. You're not going to enjoy your health. So try to find the right person. Do not make the poor decision. Make the right decision, inshallah ta'ala. Speaking about the youth, we're going to have mid-June, inshallah. We're going to have our annual summer camp. So encourage them to attend, inshallah. They will benefit from that. Also, we're going to have 2 ziyarah trips. One of them for the youth, geared for the youth mostly. One of them in November to the Umrah, inshallah ta'ala. And the other one in December for the ziyarah of the Atabat in Iraq and Iran, inshallah ta'ala. So ask them to join this so they can benefit and enjoy these trips, inshallah. Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat الأحياء منهم والأموات تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات اللهم اغفر لشهدائنا في غزة وفي فلسطين ولبنان والعراق واليمن وإيران يا أرحم الراحمين وعجل في فرج إمامنا ومولانا صاحب العصر والزمان on Sunday night after Maghrib prayers, there is a Quranic recitation group of the youth here in this masjid. If you'd like to join, inshallah, you are welcome to join them Sunday night after Maghrib. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والشهداء ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.